Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Taurus, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of April. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there. That will help you find your full natal chart, and then you should come back and watch the videos for your Moon and Ascendant signs, because they'll give you a better idea of what's going on with you overall, rather than, just that which is represented by your sun sign. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed, liked, shared, commented on the videos, sent me messages, reached out for personal readings. My books are still closed at the moment. I had intended to take a week off after working through the backlog. But then I found myself having to do other things instead of resting. So yeah, I'm going to reopen them soon though, so just watch this space if you are wanting a reading. And the people who've donated to the channel, thank you so much. Keep the lights on. So this is actually the second reading that I'm doing for you now, because I have literally just completed your reading for April, and it was so bizarre that I felt like I had to do it again. Not only was it utterly bizarre, but I have a really, really strong pressure over my third eye at the moment. And it kind of goes along with what was coming out in the last reading. It was a little less about what's going on with you in the 3D, and a little more about why you've had to level up quite so quickly as you have done, for what is needed from you now. I haven't decided if I'm going to upload it or not. I still haven't decided. I'll have a mull over on it. But I think it's possibly a theme that's going to be coming out for all of the fixed signs. I just have a feeling that that's what it's going to be. So what I'm going to do is do this second reading, try and make this a little bit more 3D specific, and I'll have a mull on whether I want to upload the other one. Because I kind of do, and I kind of want to do an extended on it then, to just kind of try and pray about and see if I could give you a bit of guidance about what it is that you're supposed to be doing now. But we'll see. So, with all of that burbling out of the way, let's see if we can get 3 cards for Taurus, please, for April. 3 cards for Taurus. See, I'm even using a different deck just to see if that makes a difference. We've got the 10 of Swords in the past. Energy for Taurus. Energy for Taurus, please. It's quite interesting how many swords came out in that, but in a really positive way. Apparently that one wanted to come out. 3 of Swords. 10 of Pentacles. 9 of Cups on the bottom of the deck, followed by the Magician and the Wheel of Fortune. I knew the Wheel of Fortune was going to come out. Right, you're on that. That speaks to me of a lesson, right? And the 10s for me talk about completions of lessons, and we've got 2 10s on the board here, with the 3 of Swords in between. Clarifiers. Which deck to clarify with? This one, same one as before. It's a Commonplace. I'm just slightly bothered by your last reading, and I don't know if I'm bothered by the reading itself, or bothered by the possibility of uploading it, or bothered by the possibility of not uploading it. I'll have a mull on it. Right. 3 cards for... no, 2 cards. Okay. It's the Wheel of Fortune again. Lessons, my loves. That, the 3 of Swords. Where's the 3 of Swords here for Taurus? Queen of Cups. Where's the 3 of Swords here for Taurus? Oh, fuck. This is going the same way. I'm absolutely certain of it. It's just coming out of Six of Swords. That's the last one. Why is the Ten of Pentacles here? Hermit. Why is the Ten of Pentacles here? Justice. That is some canny majors you've got going on there. Bottom of the deck, Ace of Pentacles, like last time, with the Queen of Swords, like last time. Right. Okay. I've just noticed you've got 3 tens from the minors, and then the Wheel of Fortune, which is 10 as well. Okay. April's quite a big month for you, Taurus. It's a big month. First card that you've got is the Ten of Swords. Right. And like I said, all the tens speak about endings, the ends of cycles. Right? Every suit starts with the ace, and it runs through the 2, the 3, right the way up to the 10. When you hit the 10, it's a lesson learned, right? And it's an energy of either releasing or embracing, right? So with the Ten of Swords, we release those things that have wounded us. It's kind of a card of the rock bottom. When you hit this point, the only place you can really go is up. There is no lower that can be sunk, right? And this is in your past energy. And this can be the words and actions of other people. But because it's swords, and therefore it speaks of words and thoughts and stuff like that, it can be those internally expressed, like our thoughts and how we speak to ourselves, or those externally expressed, how we deal with other people or how other people deal with us. And I feel like this is an internal Ten of Swords for you. This is about how you speak to yourself, or how you have spoken to yourself, perhaps for your entire fucking life, right? And it feels like you've released it, right? There's this shift, which was something that I felt very strongly in the last reading, and I felt it even in the meditation before I started the reading, there was a shift of some description. And it seems to be about the way that you have been thinking, right? The way that you've been speaking to yourself, the way that you engage with your inner voice, and the way that you struggled to, or have struggled at least in the past, to differentiate between your intuition and that guidance that is sent to you by spirit and your higher self, and what is your 3D mind just, punishing you, I guess. It feels like you've come to the end of that. And you come to the end of these things by acknowledging them for what they are. And if it's something that's been coming out in the readings that we've done over the last couple of months, or a month at least, it is this sense that you have got sort of trapped in your own mind at times. This is an acknowledgement of not only the fact that you have been trapped in your mind, but also that it has been that your mind that has been spearing you to the ground, right? Not in a good way either, not in a rooted way, but in an impaled way. There's no growth from impaling yourself. There's growth when you root yourself. You can grow up. 2 cards that you've got to clarify are the Six of Cups and the 10, the Wheel of Fortune, the card of Sagittarius. And the Six of Cups for me is a card of the past, right? It can be a card of childhood. And we can certainly, at this point, we can extrapolate that there are perhaps thought processes and ways of thinking, ways of expressing yourself internally that were formulated very early on in your life from early experiences, right? That's possible. But this is also my soulmate card, right? And coming in with the Wheel of Fortune, which is the card of Sagittarius, you know, this is potentially a Sagittarian soulmate who has come in to help you learn this lesson, close out a cycle and move forwards. Because what Sagittarius has, and we've talked about this at length for months, is this incredible healing energy. They're like a beacon of healing. Just wander around and fix everybody in their environment without even trying, because they kick this energy out, right? But this is amplified when it's somebody that's a soulmate. You know, when you make that connection and they cause you to want to level up. You know, you're then employing your conscious mind into the act of growth, right? Dragging your subconscious, kicking and screaming with it. And this seems to be what you've hit. Now, if you don't have a Sagittarian in your midst, and I know a lot of you do, and I know some of you don't, it seems to be this energy that's going around at the moment, right? That people are, just as in, you know, towards the tail end of last year, like November, December time, and into January, I did not do a single reading where the justice didn't come out somewhere, right? And that wasn't a Libran wandering around doing that thing. It was karmic contracts being fulfilled. You know, people being released from things. There was this great sense of release everywhere of these, you know, previous things that they were kind of shackled to, because people were learning the lessons and leveling up, right? So if you don't have a Sagittarian, and this is just this Sagittarian expression of healing that's coming through, right? Of you fixing things from possibly from your early childhood, but possibly from before, you know, possibly things that you've brought with you from previous lives. That's totally a thing. But whenever the Wheel of Fortune comes up, the other thing that it speaks to me of is lessons, right? I was literally talking to someone today, in fact, a Sagittarian, about, I was showing him the World card and the Wheel of Fortune. And they've both got the 4 fixed signs on, and you're one of them, right? And whereas in the World card, the figures are just presented, you know, the heads are there, right? In the Wheel of Fortune, they're all sat reading books. And I really love that, because that's where the lesson comes in for me. Like when you hit the Wheel of Fortune, there's been a lesson, right? You've been studying. Your sign has been looking at the books. You know, the collective energy has been learning something, being tested, and leveling up, right? It also talks about the wheel turning and, you know, things moving in your favor. But, you know, naturally, when you align yourself properly with your energy, then you start to create. You cannot help yourself. Oh, tarot reader, itchy nose. You know, and I want to draw your attention to the fact that we've got here at the bottom of the deck, we've got the 9 of Cups, which is the wish fulfillment, right? But more than, oh no, it's not the 9, it's the 10. The 10 of Cups, which is complete emotional fulfillment with someone else, whereas the 9 is about doing it for yourself. The 10 is about finding someone else who resonates on that frequency with you to share, you know, in that. Someone who is whole and complete all of themselves, coming together with you who is whole and complete of themselves, you know, and you sharing a partnership moving forward. So rather than one of you relying on the other to kind of bail you out emotionally or make excuses for the other or validate your existence, you know, stuff like that. Underneath that, we've got the Magician, right? That's just what I was saying, that, you know, creation. When you are aligning in your energy correctly, then you can create, because you become a manifester, because your inside and your outside are externally are resonating at the same frequency. And when you do that, you kick out a really powerful energy into the universe, and the universe responds in kind. And how does it respond? It responds by turning the cycle, by improving your existence, you know. But Wheel of Fortune, Sagittarian energy again. The card that you've got for the present is the 3 of Swords. Now, ordinarily, you know, we would talk about heartbreak and stuff like that with this card, because it's kind of visceral, you know, and you've got one crow in there, you know, that's left, and another crow kind of flying away, sorry. It's really like somebody's got their thumb in my head right now. Scrabbling my executive function. But I don't feel like that with this card, right? I don't feel like this is you having just had your heart broken in some sort of third party situation or anything like that. I'm just not feeling that off this card. This card feels more like an acknowledgement of wounds, right? Because consider what we have here, right? There's an acknowledgement that you have been punishing yourself, sabotaging yourself, speaking to yourself very unkindly for a very long time, perhaps, you know, from childhood, perhaps even from before, you know. So what do you do with that information, right? Yes, I have been fucking myself over for years because I was afraid. Like, what now? You cannot just spontaneously cease to be afraid of things. Well, what comes next is working out why it's there, working out why you have done those things, working out why each one of these swords is still sat in your heart. And in order to do that, you need to identify and acknowledge, A, that you are still wounded, and B, what those wounds are, you know, why they're there. And that is the process that you need to go through so that you may pull those swords out again and allow your heart to heal. And this is where you're at right now. Wheel of Fortune again. In fact, that was exactly the card that I was showing him there. Look, you might see the 4 fixed signs that all sat with their books. Beautiful. I love it. Let's just get this shuffled in. So, the 3 of Swords feels like, just as the 10 of Swords was a conscious acknowledgement that you want to level up, you want to change the way that you think, you want to change the way that you express yourself inside and out, you know. The 3 is a conscious acknowledgement that these wounds are here, that these wounds exist, and it's a very present urge now to identify and fix those wounds. You're at the 3 of Swords, please. Hanged Man, yeah. You want to change your perspective on a lot of things, you know, like what's that quote that I had? All the tools that we need to grow are in the places that we don't want to look. Like, I suspect you realise now that you've been not looking in a few places for quite a long time, and you're realising that it's time that you need to have a little bit of a peek in there, because that's the King of Wands. I'm going to take that, because exactly as I said, those tools that you need to grow are in those dark places, those places that you have very consciously avoided for a very long time. You know, perhaps acknowledge that there was a thing there, but you know, it was fine, you've dealt with it, all that kind of thing. But you haven't, you just kept it in a box, kept the lid shut. Tell me about the 3 of Swords, please. Yeah. We've got the 6 of Cups again, and the 5 of Wands. Right, 6 of Cups being the past. The 5 of Wands is conflict, and that can be petty conflict, but it can be right the way up to, you know, fuck, that was the Justice. Fuck off, King of Wands. Like, these male fire signs, well, they're like Judgment card. This is all talking about the past. It's asking you to you know, move forwards by going backwards. Tell me about the 3 of Swords. 4 of Wands, yeah. At the bottom of the deck, the 4 of Pentacles, you know, there is stuff that you need to release, right? You release that stuff by identifying it, you know, seeing where it's wounded you, and then letting it go, changing your perspective on things, you know. Maybe your childhood was filled with strife, you know, maybe your parents fought a lot, right? Something like that. But if not, it's like all the conflict that's inside you now that you experience has its roots much, much further back than you thought it did. And you need to go digging. You really need to go digging in order to find that. But I think that this is your energy now. This is where you're at. The Fool. Yeah. Home. The 2 main clarifiers that I pull up here were the Queen of Cups and the Fool. And this was delightful because the Queen of Cups is very receptive energy, right? Water is receptive. queens are receptive. This is kind of like doubly receptive. It's opening yourself up to allow things to come to you, right? And not only allowing them to come to you, but loving them on an equal footing, that they love you, recognizing a healthy other person that you can combine with to create a life together. Absolutely. But feeling worthy of that, feeling like that is not something that you're going to sabotage because you're so afraid of it going wrong. It's coming to it with an open heart. More than that, it's coming to it with trust, because that's what the Fool says to me. The Fool moves forwards in perfect trust. He has no idea where he's going. It's not really important where he's going. What's important is that he trusts that he'll be okay, and he's just got this little sack on his back, no baggage, moving open from the heart, openly, accepting those things that come to you, and trusting not only anybody that comes forward, but trusting yourself as well. Queens aren't needy, not at all, as an energy. This queen's got her own cup. She doesn't need someone to bring it to her. But if she meets a king, nothing else to say about that. So we've got the World at the bottom here. World and the Fool is the last card and the first card of the major arcana. Yeah. See, what you are working on now, you've got the Four of Swords at the bottom of the deck and Wheel of Fortune again. The Four of Swords is about taking a step back. It's about taking a break. It's about adjusting to a new paradigm, and that new paradigm is the way that you think. It's the way that it's your whole life, actually. Like, your frame of reference for everything that you experience goes through the lens of your mind, to a certain point anyway. Like, there are other ways, but when you change your perception, when you change the way that you view yourself, when you change the way that you talk to yourself, you're changing everything about the way that you interact with the outside world, and you're changing your vibration on all sorts of levels, and leveling up, releasing a lot of fear, moving forwards. And this new paradigm that you're moving into, you're building something that is actually solid this time, right? Because what you've been doing for so long has not worked, right? The way that you've been doing things for decades hasn't worked. It's time for something new. It's time for a change, and you're fucking embracing it. You're going right for it. What you're building now will last. What you're building now has got legs, right? It's going to go the distance. You've got a new sense of your own value. You've got a new sense of your own self-worth. If you're not quite there yet, you will be very soon. But these foundations that you are building with the work that you are doing on yourself now, they're not just going to last for you for a long time, but others as well. And whether you're a parent, or whether you're somebody's child, well, obviously everybody's somebody's child, but it can change your relationship with your parents. It can change your relationship with your children, with your siblings, with your friends, with your work colleagues, with everything. You're shifting everything around. It's turning you into a different person, and it's turning you into a different person because you are needed. You are needed. Final card that you've got for April is the Ten of Pentacles. Now, this is sometimes called the inheritance card, and it's supposed to be complete material fulfillment, right? That's the kind of key word for this card. But what I find really interesting is that this is two completely different decks. But look at those two Gothic arches on those cards. Right? I didn't even notice it on the Ten of Pentacles to start with. Right. This one's pretty stark and it only has 3. This one is 10. It's curved in pentacles and all sorts of other things, right? What begins with the 3 is going to spread up to a 10. There are sunflowers and all sorts of beautiful plants all over this. There's lotus blossoms as well. And the lotus flower is a very spiritual flower. It talks about opening up, you know, symbolically, it's about becoming much more spiritual. It's about becoming much more aware, right? If you're going to increase your spirituality, if you're going to increase your connection with things of a spiritual nature, you need to align your shit, because you just can't. When your mind, when your 3D existence is kind of pulling on that and second guessing your intuition all the fucking time, like your link to the divine, to source, to spirit, whatever, however you want to describe it, like that is fractured, it's broken. You cannot pull on that properly. This is about aligning that. And just as some tens talk about release, others talk about embrace, and here we have 2 cards of embrace. There's the 2 they are the 2 most positive cards in the minor arcana as far as I'm concerned. But it's about security and stability and all that kind of thing. And it can talk about business, it can talk about inheritance, it can talk about new job opportunities, new jobs, promotion, all that kind of thing. But I feel like it's something broader than that. This is an understanding that you have achieved a lot. And a new sense of gratitude for what it is that you do have. And gratitude is so important, because that is another reframing of perspective and things, rather grieving over things that you've lost or being mean to yourself or anything like that. Expressing gratitude for what you have brings more of it to you. But it also aligns you with where your energy is supposed to be. The Ten of Pentacles is, for you as an earth sign, the culmination of your efforts. It's a culmination of how Taurians build. You start with the foundations and you lay everything, step to progression and all that. But from an internal point of view, this is stability. This is you achieving internal stability, right? And being that rock, being that fixed sign rock that the rest of the zodiac is going to need. I said I feel like this is going to be a bit of a theme for the fixed signs, and the way things are at the moment. Like, our strength is something that the other signs need to be able to rely on, and I feel like that's why you've been pulled to work through so much stuff in such a short amount of time, is because of this. The 2 cards that you've got to clarify here are the Hermit and Justice. Right. It's Virgo and Libra respectively, but I don't feel like the signs are important here. The Hermit is about going within, but it's more than that. It's about being still enough for the answers to rise to the surface, just as we get here in this one. And in this Hermit card, there's an entrance to the cave and it's very bright outside. And this woman's sat in the cave, but she looks pretty happy with where she is. Right? That's your internal space. I feel like you're starting to feel happier inside your internal space. Realizing that it doesn't need to be a place that frightens you anymore. Right? And then we have Justice. Like, karmic debts paid off. Yeah. Karmic contracts finished, released. But more than that, balance and stability. This is what's coming towards you, or this is what is being asked of you in April. Tell me about this Hermit, please. Where is the Hermit here? I giggled because it's Justice that's come out to clarify the Hermit. Hermit and Justice, please. 2 cards. Yeah, that's so bizarre. I'm sure that exact combination came out in the previous Taurus reading. We got the 9 of Swords and the Queen of Swords. For me, the Queen of Swords is the lower echo of Justice, right? Justice is out here twice. This message is really being hammered home here by the cards. And then you've got the Queen of Swords, right? The 9 of Swords is that overthinking. It's about all of those things that we've been discussing for the entire reading, and the reading before that, and the reading before that, you know. But the Queen of Swords has only one sword, and it's the Ace. It's the truth, you know. And this Queen's energy is that of intellect and reason and logic and rationality and all that kind of thing. But she's somebody who thinks really, really clearly about everything, right? She doesn't get mired up in things. She doesn't overthink. She's got an exceptional intellect. And she cuts out the bullshit, you know? And Taurus, some of what you've been thinking has been bullshit. Right, there's no doubt about it. But how this Queen's got her back to this 9 of Swords, right? Somewhere in amongst all this bullshit is the truth of the matter, but you wouldn't let yourself see it, and you're going to let that go. You are seeing it now for what it is. You've done so much work. It's absolutely astonishing, right? Justice twice. You are really, really balancing yourself out. No question about that whatsoever. But there's a huge karmic overtones to this whole reading. Yeah. And the message is broadly the same, actually. Very little about potential partners, and I'm sure that will mean that this reading gets significantly fewer views than other ones that I've done, because everybody wants to know about love. Nobody wants to know about the fucking work that they have to do on themselves before that love comes along, you know. And that's the bit where I'm interested. That's where I can help you. Doesn't matter if Jason Momoa himself or, you know, Eva Green, oh bless her, was coming towards you with a cup of love. You know, if you are not sorted on the inside, you're gonna fuck it up. I mean, you just are. So do the work, right? It's hard, but ultimately it's worth it. I'm kind of preaching to the choir here anyway, because this is what you've done, right? And I fucking applaud you for it. It's hard work, and it takes a great deal of internal strength, and you have done it. These. Tell me more about this 10 of Pentacles, I was going to see if I could get some more cards of the 10 of Pentacles, just try and see what that was about, but the deck, it don't want to talk. I might do an extended on this, and we start plunging around a little bit in the depths of things. We'll see if we can get some more info on the heartbreak and how to move forwards with that, and then a little bit more on what is expected of you, because that's what the last 2 readings have felt like. Like, you have a job to do, Taurus, whether you realise it or not, and part of that is as a fixed sign. But there's a definite collective Taurian energy that other people need as well. So I'll see how it goes. If I do decide to do an extended, it will be in the description box underneath. Just click on that and we'll take it from there. If not, I might leave it till next month. but broadly the same message as in the last video. So well done. I'm proud of you. And I'll leave it there for now. I need to go and, I don't know, lie on the floor for a little bit, I think. Anyway, right, take care. Love you all.